It's just another fight. It's just another fight for me, It's big. Every time there's a Conor McGregor fight, it's big. We're in Las Vegas. We're fight capital, International Fight Week, even more crazy. The heat is on. The heat is going to be even more on come Saturday night.
Does it get your blood pumping, the buzz that Conor brings to this sport now that you're matched up against him one again? Does any side of that entertain you and get you fired up knowing that it's going to be the biggest story in sports this week?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I'm excited. We got other big events going on. You got the World Cup going on, and still people are talking about Holloway versus McGregor too. So at the end of the day, it's a great position.
In shape, focused. He's a dangerous man. If anybody can come back after 5 years and put it all together and start winning against the best guys, it's Conor. He's a special individual. Even though he's a horrible person and I don't like him, I got to give props where it's due. He has some God-given gifts.
Find it, and you just seem to will it. Is it as easy as that, or how? I know you just kind of described it, but how did you get that confidence back to walk in there and face a guy like Max Holloway on Saturday?
Man, I don't know. It's above, brother. It's divine. It's not me. It's above. That's how I feel with it. I could question my own self with that also, but I have it. I'm confident, and I'm gonna showcase it. I love this arena. I love fight night, fight week, and God willing, I'm back here next week and the week after. How many weeks is in a year? 54. There you go. I could fight every week if it's a go. Before the injury, I had maybe 3 within the year. People don't recall that. And now there you go. I plan on getting busy here.
Can we get back to that? Or will even the business, will the fight business allow it when you almost get too big to fight that frequently, right? Or can we get back to that level?
I believe I wish for it. I wish for it. So if I'm the man in the arena, right? I'm the one that's making the walk. So if I'm the one who's pushing for it and campaigning for it, I'm sure that is the case. Now I've said my piece with the Ultimate Fighting Championship and their staging of my bouts. And they've said their piece, and it's kind of fallen on.
Conor doesn't need to fight. He has everything. I respect the fact that he's coming back to fight so much because it shows that he's a fighter in his heart. Me, I got to a certain level and I decided to walk away. Conor, he's back. It shows that he's still that fighter despite having so much success. I'm rooting for him. Proud of Conor. I'm a massive fan. I think I will be for the rest of my life. He has had a lot of struggles, ups and downs, just like I have, but he always gets back on his feet, which is a huge example to so many out there. So,
did we ever think that McGregor was coming back?
He always threatened coming back, didn't he? But I think that there's been so many stop starts with McGregor that
6 years.
Yeah, no one knows where we're up to. But you know what? I watched a couple of his interviews recently. He seems in a really good place. I know it's only an interview, but he does seem in a good place. When McGregor's on form, he's absolutely unreal. Absolutely unreal. He's beat Max Holloway before. Max Holloway, in my opinion, really, really good fighter. One of the best ever. Didn't look great in his last fight. Did not look great against Charles Oliveira at all. He looked like he kind of was questioning whether he wanted to be there or not at points. But he was fighting a grappler. So, when it's all striking, which it probably will be, sometimes when you're fighting regular, that helps as well. Sometimes it works the other way. It just depends where they're at. But like I say, I heard a couple of McGregor interviews. I was very impressed with what he was talking about and how calm he seemed and how focused he seemed. I know it's just an interview. It doesn't really mean anything, but he's up against it, against an active guy like Max Holloway. But I think the thing is that power doesn't leave. He needs one shot and it can be over. So I'm more favouring towards a McGregor win, to be honest.
I can tell, but how does Holloway win this fight?
Holloway wins by just out-voluming him, being at the right spots at the right time. Very tall, lanky guy, using good footwork, using good timing. His timing is definitely going to be better because he's been fighting way more regular than McGregor. I think that there's definitely a possibility of Max Holloway picking him off and moving, but I would favour more to.
This collision between Conor McGregor and Max Holloway is shaping up to be anything but a routine UFC headliner. It places a legendary former champion determined to prove he still belongs at the very top of the sport against a battle-tested warrior whose career has been forged through relentless wars inside the octagon. While many analysts lean toward Max Holloway, pointing to his relentless pace, elite conditioning, and recent performances, others insist Conor McGregor's explosive left hand remains the one weapon capable of turning everything upside down in a single moment. With fight night drawing closer, the debate is only becoming more intense. It looks like the fighting world is split down the middle. So, which side are the experts taking, and what makes them so convinced?
Yeah, no shit. Because I blocked it. The problem is I'm still sitting on my ass, you dumbass. Like, that's the problem. But I remember him saying it didn't land. What? Okay, you're right. It didn't. It's still illegal to throw to the fucking head when I'm sitting on my butt. So, anyways, that's me going off my rant. But
no, and I appreciate that perspective. I think people out there will really appreciate you sharing that. And I understand as well, like with Tom Aspinall stepping into this rematch with Cyril Gahn. You know, like you're talking about it fucking with your head. Like this guy just basically couldn't drive his kids around for like 8 months because his eye's so fucked. You're going to go in there and be like, hey man, this is kind of important. Like, please assure me you're going to do something about this. And just quickly before we get,
you're going to pay attention to it at least.
Yeah. Before we get into the big card, one more thing. I saw Jamal Hill is moving up to heavyweight. You obviously just had a blast out performance at heavyweight. When you see people like Jamal Hill moving up to heavyweight, they're always looking forward to having before a fight.
You know, Sean Strickland is pretty funny. We certainly get to see a good side of him in those fighter meetings, and we get to talk technically, but I always enjoy having a few minutes with Sean. You know, Derek Lewis, I think, actually, believe it or not, is lightened up over the years. So our last fighter meeting with him was particularly funny. You know, they all can go in a number of different directions. In terms of the other part of that question, I'm thankful that not too many fighters sort of get annoyed. I think oftentimes if a fighter's going to bring up a past call or something they take issue with, they won't use the fighter meeting as the setting in which they want to sort of challenge you on that. They might message you on Instagram. But thankfully, not too many fighters have gotten annoyed. We try to keep it short and sweet and on to the next. But yeah, I mean, Strickland is amusing. Yeah, I'm trying to draw on a couple of different.
Yeah, like you just said, the blackout walkout was a surprise, and I actually only found out. I only asked Conor the other day. I was like, "Did you know about that?" And he didn't know either. So I remember as we're leaving the locker room and the cameras were there, and I kind of recognized that that's what they do for a blackout walkout. You know, they meet you at the locker room, so you knew something was up. But and then the crowd and everything, it was an incredible reception, and we got off, as you can see, to a great start. Well, I think that was it Max's fifth or sixth
fight. Yeah,
it was a sixth fight in the UFC. Yeah. That's why I kind of laugh at the commentary. Is, you know, Conor was fighting a boy. I was like, well, he had a lot more UFC fights than Conor did. Only a couple of years in the difference, but yeah, no, there was a fair bit to watch from him, to be honest. It was nice to go against somebody that we had no real worry about, you know, a deep double leg or anything. He's going to stay on his feet.
I mean, just judging by ring rust from Conor McGregor's side, I think Max Holloway, you know, he's been very active. It is a welterweight fight, I believe, right?
It is, yeah.
I mean, that's a bit crazy because obviously Max Holloway, I think, looks good at 155. So it will be weird for him adjusting to a bit of a bigger, you know, obviously McGregor looks massive these days. So having to adjust that new weight class might play a factor, you know, but I think because of the activity of Holloway, I've got to give it to Holloway.
The kid in me wants to see Conor do it, you know. I'm obviously a big Conor fan. I think most of the kids from my generation grew up watching him and were inspired by him. And, I think a small part of us will always believe that he's still capable of doing it. You know, I'm a big Max Holloway fan too, but honestly, I think it's an interesting matchup, especially it happening at 40 or at 70 is the most intriguing part. Like Max has been around for a long time. He's had so many fights, you know. I know Conor's older than him, but I think in terms of fight time, Max has probably taken more strikes and has had more fights. And I think in his last couple of fights, we've seen a little bit of the mystique of the chase.
While many see Conor McGregor's lengthy absence from competition as a major setback, Brian Shaw believes that time away could actually become his biggest advantage. Shaw argues that Max Holloway has stayed remarkably consistent throughout his UFC career, with a style that has evolved very little despite years of elite competition. Because of that, Shaw believes McGregor is preparing for an opponent whose habits are already well established. A relentless striker, an incredibly durable boxer, and a fighter who almost always chooses to keep the battle on the feet.
Dustin Poirier, he took a year and a half off and didn't even know about calf kicks and lost because of it. This time he's been off for 5 years. Are there any developments in the game that he's missed out on that would be relevant in the fight? No, especially when it comes to Max Holloway, right? Like Max is cut from kind of the same cloth where you know exactly what you're going to get with Max. You know, at Max's age, he's not throwing any wrinkles. He's not doing anything special. Like we know what you're signing up for when you fight Max Holloway. So I think that's actually a benefit to Conor being out of the game so long is you know exactly who you're getting in Max Holloway. And that's a good thing. If you're a Conor fan, that's a good thing. There's going to be no surprises. It's not like he's fighting fucking Hoofy or something like that. Where you're like, dude, I don't know what the hell he's going to do. You're Max Holloway. You know what you're getting? Great boxing, great chin, good movement, great footwork. Probably not going to the ground, right? So,
according to Shaw, if Max Holloway walks away with a victory, he certainly will not be short on opportunities, but he may be left without one obvious path forward. A statement win over Conor McGregor would almost certainly elevate Holloway's star power even further, yet what comes next is far less certain. It could mean another run at lightweight gold, a showdown with one of the division's fast-rising contenders, or another blockbuster matchup built around pure spectacle. Shaw's point is simple. The possibilities are everywhere, but no single direction clearly stands above the rest.
He beats Conor, dominant fashion. Max bounces back from losses very well and can dog it out like he did with Yair if he needs to. Yeah, Max is in a weird spot, right? Because let's say he highlight reel knocks out Conor. He's this huge name. Is Justin going, all right, that's the fight that'll get me up and I'll put my belt on the line. We can do that rematch. You know, does that do it? Or, you know, where Max is at in his career, does he fancy himself a 170? I don't think so. You know, does he challenge Islam? That'd be a nightmare for him. Does the UFC use him as a launching board for these guys coming up, like Yair Rodriguez at 55, Dio Lopez at 55? You know, do they do Max versus Patty if Patty gets a big win? You know, what do they do? The point is there's a lot of options for both gentlemen if they win.
When it comes to the matchup itself, Tom Aspinall believes the biggest question is not who Conor McGregor is facing, but how he chooses to approach the challenge. While McGregor relied on his grappling at key moments during their previous meeting, Aspinall finds it difficult to imagine that becoming his primary strategy after spending so much time away from active competition. A wrestling-heavy game plan can drain even elite fighters over the course of 5 demanding rounds. Because of that, Aspinall expects McGregor to trust the weapon that built his global reputation from the very beginning, his explosive striking. It looks like he'll be hunting for the same devastating left hand that has changed so many fights in an instant.
Max Holloway's shown some, mate, he's striking, like his striking IQ is so good. Doesn't get hit much. But then in the first fight, McGregor grappled him. He might grapple him again. Like that. I know that how many years ago was that? It's probably like 10 years ago, weren't it?
Would you grapple someone though if you've had that amount of time off? Is that probably an easy, let's just for us fans, how do you sort of look at something like that? You've had 6 years out.
Yeah.
Your gas tank. When you're coming to a fight, is there a difference in if he's going full strike and he's going to be knackered after a few rounds and this is a 5-round fight? Would grappling help him depends. Or grappling's just as exhausting, right?
Grappling's probably more exhausting. It just depends though, because if McGregor's looking for a knockout, that's exhausting as well. So I'm hoping McGregor's going to be like in full flow, looking for that left hand. Mate, when he's on form, like his fight with Eddie Alvarez, in my opinion, was his best performance ever. Mate, absolutely unreal. Absolutely unreal. How does he look after, 6 years off? That's going to be the interesting factor, but me, like everybody else, I'm excited to see.
Aspinall also believes it would be misleading to define Max Holloway solely by his loss to Ilia Topuria. In his view, that single result fails to capture the full picture because both Holloway and Conor McGregor have continued to evolve through years of experience, relentless preparation, and countless battles that have shaped the fighters they are today. Even though Aspinall recognizes that Holloway is entering the later stages of his career, he points to Holloway's commanding victory over Justin Gaethje as proof that he is still capable of delivering elite-level performances. More than anything, Aspinall expects an unforgettable showdown, fueled by McGregor's long-awaited return and Holloway's reputation for producing spectacular, fan-friendly wars every time he steps into the octagon.
Max Holloway the same fighter after that Ilya Taporia fight, though?
No,
because that seemed to...
Neither of them are the same fighter as they were like 10 years ago. Obviously, they've like been massive gaps. They've also got a lot more miles on the clock and stuff like that. I think that, yeah, Max is definitely later on in his career. Max, though, mate, Max puts on some unbelievable performances. When we seen him fight Justin Gaethje, it was unreal. That wasn't that long ago. Like, that was a couple of years ago, was it? Last year, was it?
Yeah.
Mate, he's absolutely unreal when he's on form. So I just want to see a good fight. I'm excited to see McGregor back. I'm always excited to see Max Holloway fight. I think this is one to get excited about.
Looking beyond the fight itself, John Anik is just as fascinated by what a move to welterweight could mean for Max Holloway's long-term future. According to Anik, Holloway told him years ago that he always expected to finish his career in heavier divisions, making this transition feel more like a long-term plan than a sudden decision. Even so, Anik still believes lightweight remains Holloway's natural home. That said, he also feels the 170-pound division could highlight several of Holloway's biggest strengths, including his frame, power, movement, and relentless pace. However this matchup with Conor McGregor unfolds, Anik believes it could shape everything that comes next in Holloway's career. While many fans are captivated by McGregor's long-awaited return, Anthony Smith believes the excitement should not overshadow the enormous challenge waiting for him. Smith argues that whenever McGregor steps onto a UFC card, the entire event instantly grows in attention, bringing unmatched publicity to everyone involved. But when it comes to the fight itself, Smith remains skeptical about McGregor's chances. In his view, Holloway presents one of the most dangerous possible matchups at welterweight. Smith also points to the completely different journeys both men have taken since they first shared the octagon. From his perspective, Holloway has remained fully invested in elite competition, constantly sharpening his craft against top-level opponents. McGregor, meanwhile, has dealt with injuries and long stretches away while pursuing opportunities outside the cage. Smith believes that if McGregor had stayed consistently active, the conversation today might look very different. Instead, Holloway continued evolving while staying immersed in the sport. Because of that, Smith sees this comeback as one of the toughest assignments McGregor could have received under the circumstances. Still, not everyone is counting the former champion out. Kyle Dockhouse believes McGregor still has a genuine route to victory, especially if he revisits the grappling-focused strategy that created success during their first meeting. He also expects both men to carry even greater power competing at welterweight, making every exchange significantly more dangerous. But after realizing this contest is scheduled for 5 rounds, Dockhouse ultimately shifted his prediction toward Holloway, believing the longer the fight continues, the more it favors the competitor who has remained consistently active. Conor McGregor's longtime head coach, John Kavanagh, also looked back at their first clash with Holloway, remembering the incredible atmosphere surrounding McGregor's walk to the octagon. Reflecting on that night, Kavanagh rejected the idea that McGregor simply defeated an inexperienced prospect, pointing out that Holloway had already accumulated more UFC appearances despite still being early in his career. Strategically, Kavanagh explained that Holloway's striking heavy style allowed McGregor's team to prepare with confidence because they never expected wrestling to become a major factor. That certainty made it easier to build an entire game plan around striking instead of constantly preparing for takedowns. Adding another layer to the debate, Tim Welch believes McGregor's physical size could become a serious advantage at welterweight. He expects the former 2-division champion to enter the cage noticeably bigger than Holloway, potentially adding even more force behind every punch. At the same time, Welch does not expect McGregor to depend heavily on wrestling after such a lengthy absence, suggesting that preserving energy across a possible 5-round battle will be critical. Instead, it looks like McGregor will search for explosive openings early, while Holloway's task will be surviving those dangerous moments before his relentless pressure can begin to take over. Now, the biggest question belongs to you. When the cage door closes and everything is on the line, who walks away with a statement victory? Does Conor McGregor complete one of the sport's most remarkable comebacks, or does Max Holloway silence the comeback story before it truly begins? Drop your prediction in the comments and subscribe for more MMA news, fight analysis, and the latest fight week developments.